Hi guys, Mike here, back for another video. This time it's on steroids. Now there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to steroids about their effects, what they can and can't do, what you should expect from a cycle. And I'm going to go over some of these in this video and tell you what you should expect. So let's get right into it. They will not work or give you their full benefits unless your diet, training and rest are on point. So this means if you are not already making gains, if you don't know how to train properly, if you don't know how to diet properly, and if you aren't resting correctly, meaning not getting enough sleep, then you are not going to get the benefits of steroids. You can't just throw them in there and expect them to make up for this lack of basic structure, because that's the most important thing. You're not going to make extra gains if you're not already making some gains with what you're doing in the gym and at home and in the kitchen. You can't just do one cycle and expect to reach your genetic limit and then just maintain it naturally. That's what a lot of people think is going to happen when they jump on steroids. They think, oh, I'll just do one cycle and then get to my natural limit and then just maintain from there. So I'll just miss out all these years of making slow, painful gains naturally. Just do one cycle of steroids and then I'll bypass all that and then just maintain. That's not going to happen. Maybe if you've been training for lots of years already naturally and you nearly at your limit, maybe you can do one cycle to get there, but still, it's not just going to be one cycle. You're going to do more cycles because they're addictive. And there's probably 1% of people who say they're going to do one cycle and that's it, actually do one cycle and that's it. The rest of them do more or they just stay on. Most steroids need ancillaries, meaning other drugs, just to mitigate the side effects. This means you might end up spending more on your ancillaries, the other drugs in your cycle, than your actual cycle. You could end up taking 3 extra drugs than just the steroids you're taking, just to not have these side effects. Unless you're taking really small doses, which is quite rare. Most people take moderate or high doses of steroids. So you are going to need some extra drugs in most cases to mitigate the side effects. Most steroids are actually safer than SARMS. Seems to be a common misconception that SARMS are a safe alternative to steroids where you don't get the side effects but you get all the same gains, or just as good gains, or maybe just nearly as good gains. But that's not true. You get reduced side effects, but you also get reduced gains. And that's what steroids are. Steroids are an attempt to make a less side effect free version of testosterone. So SARMs and steroids, they're the same thing really. They're just called different names. They're slightly different class. If you are getting any sort of performance benefit from the SARM you are taking, then you're still going to be getting side effects. You can't really get one without the other. It just doesn't work like that. It would be nice if it did, but so far, with the current list of drugs available, it's just not possible. They do not burn fat. Steroids do not burn fat on their own, contrary to what a lot of people believe. A lot of people think that you can just take steroids and get ripped somehow. I don't know how they think this happens, because steroids build muscle. That's what they do. They don't burn extra fat. They don't uprate your metabolism unless it's by adding extra muscle to your body, and that in turn raises your metabolism because you've got more muscle to maintain, which in turn means you need to eat more calories to maintain your body weight. So if you mean by burn fat, it raises your metabolism through the extra muscle you built, then yeah, but on their own, steroids do not burn fat. You can't just take more steroids and burn more fat. It doesn't work like that. They won't turn you into a monster, a big freak, unless you have the genetics for it. I'm sorry to say, a lot of people think you can just take huge amounts and then become bigger and bigger and bigger until you become like Mr. Olympia. No, that's not going to happen. Unless you've got the genetics to become an absolute freak, a huge monster, then it's not going to happen. So unless you are one of those genetic outliers, then you should reduce your expectations hugely. Okay, I've been training and taking steroids for the last 12 to 13 years. and I am still nowhere near what I wanted to achieve when I started. So bear that in mind. They are mentally addictive. They aren't really physically addictive, but they are definitely mentally addictive for some people, because you will see the progress you make while you're on them. You'll see your lips going up, you'll see yourself looking better in the mirror, and your confidence will go up while you're on them. And then you won't want to come off because you'll be scared of losing the size, the strength gains you've made, and you'll be scared of losing the compliments you've been getting since you've been on cycle, which can be a bit of a head fuck, but it's just something you've got to get over. And lastly, but most importantly, they will ruin your health if you stay on them for too long, especially at too high doses, unless it's just a moderate dose of testosterone and you're doing TRT. But even then, if your dose of testosterone goes up too high, up to say above 200 milligrams, 200 milligrams even is quite a big dose. But a lot of people in America seem to be taking that as a TRT dose. But I think that's getting into dangerous territory, and anything above that continuously, you are pushing your luck, really, because you run the risk of cardiovascular disease, plaque in your arteries, cholesterol issues, and blood pressure issues, and kidney and liver damage. Now, you might not think that's too big a deal at your age. I didn't when I first started cycling, because you don't really think about your old age when you're young. But in 10, 20 years, you are going to wish you were more careful about your choices in drugs, especially when you realise they didn't give you what you thought you were going to get from them. But yet you've built up all the negative effects regardless. That's it for the video. I hope it cleared some things up. As always, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time.